This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. An Amory man was killed in a head-on collision near Taylor Falls this week. According to the Minnesota State Patrol, 59-year-old Thomas Collins was killed on Monday when his vehicle crossed over the center line on Highway 8 and collided with a car driven by a Minnesota woman head-on. A passenger in the Minnesota woman's car was also killed in the collision, and the driver was taken to Regions Hospital in critical condition. Law enforcement authorities say that alcohol was not a factor in the crash, but wet road conditions may have been. A Duluth man was arrested on Tuesday after allegedly crashing a stolen car into a tree. According to the Duluth Police Department, the crash occurred at the intersection of North 3rd Avenue West and West 3rd Street at around 3 a.m. on Tuesday morning. When they arrived at the scene, they found the stolen vehicle, and the 33-year-old driver fled the scene of the crash. Officers later found and arrested the driver on 2 felony warrants, with more charges expected. Authorities have not shared what caused the suspect to crash the vehicle. With a new year comes new laws in Wisconsin. Residents will see a number of procedural changes this year to things like state park passes and electric vehicle taxes. Among the new laws in effect, residents who enjoy taking advantage of state parks will now be able to purchase an admission sticker that's valid for a full 12 months, not just until the end of the calendar year. Another new policy places limitations on the ability of residents to oppose housing developments near their homes as the state looks to increase its housing stock. Curling fans in northern Wisconsin are being called to form a new club and contribute to the creation of a new facility. The Hayward Curling Club is looking for members to officially start up the organization this year, with plans to build an indoor curling facility for next winter to capitalize on the curling excitement around the Winter Olympics. Organization officials say the club is open for any resident of any skill level to join, and there are also ways for people with disabilities to participate. Interested residents can contact the club directly. Energy experts say Wisconsin is expected to see an over $4 billion investment in clean energy projects over the coming years. A number of long-term energy projects are planned in the Midwest that will either be completely or partially located in Wisconsin. One of those projects includes the construction of long-range transmission lines for transporting clean energy. Experts say the construction on the projects alone could support thousands of jobs, and when completed, they could produce over 6.5 gigawatts of clean energy. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has reported an increase in homelessness of nearly 4% in Wisconsin this year. According to their data, over 5,000 people experienced homelessness at some point in 2024, with hundreds unable to find even reliable shelter. The report also found over 200 unaccompanied kids experiencing homelessness. The unhoused population has grown across the country over recent years as people struggle with rising home prices, stagnant wages, and inflation. The North End Snowshoe Classic is scheduled to take place as usual in Cable this weekend. Organizers from the North End Ski Club say they believe there will once again be snow on the ground for this year's event after being forced to convert the 2024 iteration of the race into a trail run due to the persistent mild conditions. There will be a 5K race and 10K race on Saturday starting at the North End Trailhead. The races will be open to the public for participants of any skill level. Parts of the North End Ski Trail will also be closed temporarily. The Douglas County Department of Health and Human Services is notifying residents of a data breach allegedly involving a former employee. According to Department of Health officials, the former employee is accused of accessing patient records without authorization over the course of 21 months between August 2022 and May 2024. Officials are working to determine how many people were affected, but have already sent over 300 notification letters. The Wisconsin State Patrol and Superior Police Department assisted in the investigation. As the holiday travel season winds down, the Wisconsin Department of Motor Vehicles is once again reminding residents to upgrade to a real ID. Starting in May, regular driver's licenses or ID cards will not be accepted for flights or entering federal buildings and military bases. DMV officials say about 60% of eligible residents already have a real ID, which they started issuing in 2013. To get a real ID, residents will need to bring proof of their name, date of birth, address, and social security number to their local DMV office. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is sharing recycling tips for the end of the holiday season. According to a press release, DNR officials are reminding residents that things like holiday light strings, cords, and plastic bags should not be put in the recycling bin as they can get tangled up in equipment. Batteries and electronics should also not be put in the recycling bin as they could cause a fire if damaged. Items like cardboard, glass, and aluminum cans can be recycled, and a full list of accepted items can be found online. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
The Packers lose their top defensive back. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Cornerback Jair Alexander suffered a knee injury back in October against the Jaguars. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur asked if there were any updates.
Yeah, I would expect most likely he's going to be done for the rest of the year.
Is that injury related?
Yes.
So you having surgery?
Yes.
Alexander had his right knee scoped on Tuesday. A report says he could be back by mid-February if the Packers are in the Super Bowl. I asked safety Xavier McKinney what it's been like watching Jair struggling to come back.
Yeah, it's been tough. He's dealt with, this injury pretty much all year. Obviously, we wanted him to be back out there, but, injuries are part of the game, so we understand that. We know that he's been working, or he was working to, try to get back, but it's like every time he was trying to, he would tweak it again. So it's a part of the game.
NBA, the Bucks in action tonight in Milwaukee. They host the Brooklyn Nets. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. People seem to notice the variety of well-reviewed films playing at the box office currently and headed to the big screen over the weekend. Sonic the Hedgehog Part 3 took the top spot at the gate with $38 million and is currently at $137 million in its first 2 weeks in theaters. The Lion King's Mufasa took a close second place with $37 million and change in its second week and is showing some good word of mouth as it is actually outperforming its haul from last week. People also wanted a little horror over their holiday as newcomer Nosferatu, which opened on Christmas Day, surprised prognosticators by pulling in $40 million over 5 days and $21 million over the weekend. Wicked and Moana 2 rounded out the top five, with Wicked pulling in $19.5 million and Moana 2 pulling in just over $18 million. Also opening on Christmas Day was the new Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown, which pulled in $23 million over 5 days and finished in sixth place last weekend with $11.6 million. All I wanted was to hold on and live. Those are the words of Gal Gadot, who recently gave birth to her fourth daughter. The drama surrounding the birth was right out of a movie script, as the actress revealed that during the 8th month of her pregnancy, an MRI showed a massive blood clot in her brain. Gadot was rushed into surgery and during the operation gave birth to her daughter Ori. The 39-year-old actress says the name means My Light and that it was appropriate as Hanukkah is a celebration of light and miracles. Golden Globes host Nikki Glaser might have a furrowed brow through this year's broadcast. You can chalk that up to bad timing, as the comedian was planning on getting plastic surgery but had to reschedule once she got the gig. Glaser says she was planning on getting a brow lift, but her agent advised her to wait until after the Golden Globes. Translation? Instead of looking surprised when she reads the nominees, she'll look grumpy. The Golden Globes air Sunday, January 5th on CBS. Former President Jimmy Carter passed away this past weekend at the age of 100. Many remember Carter for his decency, endless service to humankind, which included his involvement with Habitat for Humanity. But what most people don't know is that he was also related to Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. Gordy said that in 1978, his sister Esther did some digging into their family tree. Gordy says he was filled with shock and pride when he found out that he and Carter were actually third cousins. There's as much drama off-screen surrounding actress Blake Lively and actor-director Justin Baldoni as there was on-screen for their film It Ends With Us. Following Lively's lawsuit claiming Baldoni sexually assaulted her and launched a smear campaign against her, Baldoni is filing a countersuit claiming Lively and her team launched a smear campaign against him. Does anything good ever come from a Hollywood smear campaign? Oh yeah, publicity. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Twin Cities weather, mostly cloudy this morning. We'll see a little sunshine by later this afternoon. High today of 19 in the Twin Cities. Tonight, partly cloudy, 6 above. Tomorrow, sunshine, 13 Saturday. Partly cloudy with a high of 11. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside right now, it's 12.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.